I did not expect it to go this way.
Me neither.
But
Nope. Didn't
Michigan,
even know what happened. I was driving and I couldn't even believe that I was listening to South Carolina and Clemson because I was like, well,
mhm,
for the first time ever, I'm like, yeah, Ohio State's gonna boat race Michigan next, and we move on. Like
yeah,
clearly in the shoe. Like I barely watched. I'll be honest with everybody. Like I barely watched any of this game because I thought it was just that's it. Like
foregone
Chad, do you want to tell
conclusion.
the people what happened?
Um, Will Howard and I can't even remember Michigan's quarterback's name. But they were just taking turns throwing the ball back to each other.
Ah,
Um, it was disgusting. I have never seen a worse display of quarterback. I mean, it is the Big Ten, so you kind of expect terrible quarterback play.
mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I got to take my shots because I've been hearing about how, like, when a team like Michigan, like Florida, for instance, beats Ole Miss, I'm told, oh, this is because the SEC is not good. Florida's not good, so therefore Ole Miss must not be good. LSU must not be good because they lost to Florida. Okay, well then I guess Ohio State's not good because you lost to Michigan at home. You didn't go to the swamp and lose to Florida. You lost at home to Florida.
Yep,
Explain yourselves.
bro. They
Um,
Michigan quarterback throws for 62 yards and 2 picks, and they win the game. And is
Insane.
Donovan Edwards just not their feature back anymore? Mullings, excuse me,
Yeah,
116
but it's
yards, and
not even.
Donovan.
They didn't even run the ball that well. Like it
No,
was just. It was the
116
most.
yards.
It was the most disgusting. It was the most Big Ten game I've seen in
Quinshawn
forever,
Judkins. Why would you let them buy you? You could have been contending for the college football playoff.
bro.
If they
Between
have Judkins on
Quinshawn,
that team, and you
yeah,
got
but
Parrish,
between
and you got
Quinshawn Judkins and Ollie Gordon, I don't know which one of them made the worst decision in the offseason. Ollie Gordon to come back to Oklahoma State, or
dude,
Quinshawn Judkins
he
to
should have
leave Ole
sprinted to the
Miss.
NFL, and he did now
Quinshawn
his draft
Judkins
stock.
Jenkins should have just stayed at Ole Miss. He'd have done better. He'd have had more. He'd have had more like stage to kind of like showcase his talents. It's not like they couldn't have used him because like Ulysses Bentley is good, but he hasn't been like insane.
Yeah, and Parrish is
And
hurt.
then that Parrish kid got hurt, and he was doing okay, but he wasn't.
Mhm.
I mean, Judkins was like a
He would have been their
dog
feature.
last
He would have been
year.
their feature back this year. Still,
Mhm.
well, that's all. That's his fault, not ours. And they lay an egg at home against a terrible Michigan. I cannot terrible Michigan team.
All right,
Terrible.
so I'll say this. All right, so let's walk it back a little bit. Let's not be like our Big Ten counterparts. Okay,
Okay,
we're gonna be realistic
I'm
when we look
sorry.
at this stuff. Okay,
You're right. You're right.
right.
I'm so sorry.
I'm going to because I gotta show you this because this is not. I even was guilty of this for a minute. Okay, that I was talking about Michigan as though they were just this terrible team that their schedule was mediocre, blah blah blah. Michigan has the seventh toughest schedule in college football this year.
All right.
So, and then look, they even put Georgia picture on this screen here. So, here's what you got: Fresno State. All right, whatever. They lost to Texas. Okay, granted it was at home, but still, Texas is one of the best teams in the country. They beat Arkansas State. They beat USC. They beat Minnesota. They lost to Washington. That's not great. They lost to Illinois. Wait, is this? Hang on. Yeah, this is Michigan. All right. They lost to Illinois, beat Michigan State. They lost to Oregon, Indiana, and then beat Ohio State. So, like, if you look at their schedule, they have Texas, Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State.
All
Four
right.
top 10 teams. So the fact that they escaped this schedule with a 7-5 record is they're not terrible. They're kind of in that.
Hands up
Um,
accountability. That's on me. But
yeah,
still,
yeah. No. It's all good. Like it, they're still not. They're still not like a great team, and this is definitely a team that Ohio State, if Ohio State is who we're led to believe they are, um, that Ohio State should have beaten. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this stuff up is because I can recognize what role rivalry plays and what role like a lot of these things that can narrow the gap can even the playing field do. Um, whether it's weather or a crowd playing on the road, and also in this instance a rivalry, even when you're playing at home. And that psychological factor, similar to what LSU and Georgia had to deal with Alabama, where Alabama is not what Alabama has been. However, for LSU and Georgia, there's like this PTSD of we've been like getting our ass kicked for a decade now, and we still piss down our leg because for whatever reason we don't come with the let's go for the jugular and let's go kill them. Instead, we're trying to play. And that's what I felt like what I saw Ryan Day do in this game was call the game as though he was afraid to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Running the ball up the middle, like open your offense up, like let your athletes go do their thing.
They
What are
have
you
all of
afraid
them.
of?
They have so many
Yeah,
talented guys.
you
They have
you
the most
bought this
talented
massive
roster.
roster for you to run the ball right up the and Michigan's strength is up the middle on defense.
Michigan's strength is their defense.
Yeah,
Like, that's where Michigan's strength still lies in the defense.
so yeah, so this is one of those classic games of you never know what goes into these rivalries psychologically, everything else, all the different things, the adrenaline, everything. Like, it's all the stuff that we talked about, but combined with the fact that like on the other side, you've got a coach who is 1-4 against this team.
And that's what you measure Ohio State coaches. That's one of their measuring sticks.
Mhm.
Still in the modern day of football, like strength against record against rivals. Like depending on
Yep.
the team, matters sometimes doesn't matter. This coaching position, beating Michigan matters the most. Like this is
Yep.
where that is one of your check marks.
Yep.
What have you done in the national scale, and what's your record against Michigan?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like those are the two things that matter the most if you're an Ohio State head coach.
Yeah, you want to get fired? Don't beat Michigan.
Yeah,
Or in the opposite case, if you're Michigan, don't beat Ohio State.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so I want to be, I don't want to be like these Ohio State people who like I really feel like what it is they don't watch enough football to actually have respect for the other stuff that goes on around the country. And that's why they're just like, well, I don't even understand why is this a rivalry? Like, oh well, because there's stuff that happens outside of like the Midwest and the Northeast, and the West Coast. I know y'all the like that's foreign to people who grew up with that stuff being like that's where all the media is and that's where all the hype is. But yeah, there's actually stuff that goes on in other places of the country, and I recognize that this is a huge rivalry, and that even when a Michigan team like this is not that good, there's still enough talent on that roster, and there's enough hatred, and there's enough trepidation on the other side of the field with Ryan Day that I could kind of see this one coming. I, I definitely did not expect it like as like a yeah, I think that's going to happen,
No, I
but it
didn't. This is
was
not one of the ones I thought was
it was in the realm of
there.
possibility.
Like
Certainly in the realm.
I mean, it's always in the realm of possibility, but like
Mhm.
the likelihood level is different. Like at any at any point in time, prime example, Georgia Tech comes in and almost trounces us
Mhm.
at Athens. Like
Mhm.
no statistical reason why they should do that other than they
Right.
almost did. But just like from an optic standpoint, and Ohio State's only loss being a barn burner out in Eugene, there was
Mhm.
nothing to say, "Oh, Michigan is going to come in and keep it close."
Right. Yeah.
That
After what they did to Indiana last week,
right.
it was just like, oh yeah, this is
It's like
foregone conclusion.
that was yeah, like, on their list of games. Michigan was kind of farther down there on compared to their previous games they played.
Right. Right.
Like,
Right. So now the question is going to be like, how does this shake out when we're going to get the rankings Tuesday night,
mhm,
but those are not the final rankings. The final
nope.
rankings will come out after this weekend when the conference championship games are done, and so it's hard for me to imagine unless Penn State beats Oregon, and then you would have three teams that could potentially be I think yeah, you could have three teams that would be ahead of Ohio State because do you put a two-loss Ohio State above Indiana with one loss just because of the head-to-head?
Mm.
Maybe you do. I don't know, but I think Penn State with one loss definitely, especially if Penn State wins the Big Ten,
That'd be
they're
massive.
their first round bye, and then
That
you can't.
validates their entire season.
Then you have to have Oregon ahead of Ohio State too.
You
So
do.
then it is the third place Big Ten team then, which could which Ohio State could be at that point. Are they definitely going on the road
Penn
round one?
State can muck up the entire system if
Oh,
they
for
beat
sure.
Oregon. Like I'm so excited. Like now that we have like this championship weekend is shaped up to be pretty awesome because now you have Clemson, SMU, and we'll talk about
Mhm.
it. You have like just some great matchups that we get to now have this coming weekend.
So yeah, we can talk about this in a little bit more depth, but I was just thinking Penn State, like Ohio State may have screwed Penn State out of a home game by losing to Michigan because
Mm,
now Penn State is either getting a first round bye by winning the Big Ten, or they might get kicked to the ninth, 10th, 11th seed with a loss to Oregon,
and then the
which would
head to head
which
against
would
Ohio
make
State.
them have to go on the road.
Yeah,
So Happy Valley could have had a home playoff game, and now they
had
could
Ohio
be.
State just won.
And yeah, had Ohio State just won, they were guaranteed a home playoff game,
Oh, that's a good
and
point. Well, I guess we'll see.
now they're either going to get a bye
However,
or they might be playing on the road.
if that TV show that Jeremiah talks about is real, which I think it
Mhm.
is, I think
Yeah.
you could see Penn State somehow sneak in a home game just for the atmosphere.
Now, we're definitely getting a home game at Neyland Stadium, which is going to be wild.
That's gonna be that's true.
And then I think you guys are either getting a bye or you're going on the road.
Yeah, which is yeah.
There's no way
We'll
you're
see.
playing in Athens.
No.
Athens is not happening. And then yeah, the rest of it we'll just have to wait and see. But